Jail is just part of life. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if there's a name for this theory. It might be called the high-low theory. I don't know if that's true. I might have just made that up off the top of my head. But people who are at the bottom rung of society and people who are at the absolute top rung of society live similar lives, and the people in the middle avoid certain things. I'll give you an example. The homeless people didn't get the vaccine. The billionaires didn't get the vaccine. People in the middle got the vaccine.
Yep.
The homeless people are stuck in endless legal battles and going to jail and need a lawyer and getting arrested, etc. The people at the top are stuck in endless legal battles and going to jail and needing a lawyer and getting arrested. And somewhere in the middle, you can avoid these things. You can sit in the middle and go, oh, I'm so glad I don't go to jail. I'm just going to pay my mortgage and I'm just going to work really hard and I'm just going to be quiet. I'm not going to have an opinion and I'm going to listen to the BBC and I'm not going to post it on Facebook and I'm just going to sit there and be a good slave. But if you're on the top or the bottom, you're kind of stuck in the same scenarios. And if you get to a high echelon, the highest echelons of life, you're going to deal with this crap. You're going to go to jail. You're going to catch a case. If you make a bunch of money, you're going to catch a case. If you're at home right now and you're thinking, I want to become a millionaire, that's fine. But if you want to make 20, 30, 40 million dollars and you're from nothing, you're from a council estate like me, and you want to end up with hundreds of millions of dollars, but let's say you want to make 30 mil, there is no way you're getting there without catching a case. The feds are going to jump on you. You're going to get tax evasion, money laundering. Some girl's going to want some money. You're going to end up in a jail cell. I guarantee it. I think it's because there's the universal law of there's a law of the universe, and it's absolutely universal. And there's some laws which are man-made, and there's some laws which are dictated by God himself that you can't avoid. And there is no light without dark. There is no light without dark. You're not going to be able to go from a Luton council estate to paying yourself $2 or $3 million a week without catching a case. You're gonna end up caught, whether I ran my mouth or not. I sit here and tell the truth because I believe it's my duty, and I believe the reason I have such a large platform is so that I can inspire people to resist the slavery of the matrix. But you're always gonna do these things. So if anyone is at home is actually truly ambitious and understands and wanna make a whole bunch of money, that's great. But you have to be prepared for the good and the bad. It's actually asinine and awfully childish for people to want an exceptional life and think that exceptionalism is only the positive. People say, I don't want a normal life. I want a great life. Okay, you don't want a normal life. Well, guess what's not normal? Private jets with your Bugatti being flown over to Dubai waiting for you, and Romanian dungeons. They're both not normal scenarios. You can't have one without the other. And if you truly want to be free, or you want to feel like you're free, you're going to pay the price for that. So I think, like, especially as the world continues to spiral towards authoritarianism, especially as people begin to wake up and want to tell the truth, especially as they try to control all of us even harder with the economic mechanisms they have. If you're out here looking to make a bunch of money, you need to also prepare yourself for a case and prepare yourself for jail. Okay, well, let's talk about that. So you have to remove all the attack vectors. Let's say I wanted to get as rich as possible and I wanted to make sure no matter what, I didn't go to jail. Okay, that's fine. But then you're gonna end up removing the joys of life, because it's the joy of life that's the attack vector. It's actually funny. I said something the other day to my brother. I said, all the men I know just want to work. You ask me what I want to do when I wake up, work. What am I doing on Sunday, work. All I do is work. All the women I know just want to have fun. And fun is where the problems come. All the fun is the sin and the haramities, the garbage. Fun is danger, right? So it's the same. You have a nice Ferrari, you have a Bugatti, you want to drive it really fast, you're well known in your city, that's problems. You want to go out to the club and hang around with a bunch of girls, that's problems. Anything you do once you get rich, they're going to use against you. So you're saying, how do you get rich without ending up in trouble? Well, then what's the point in being rich if you're just going to sit in your house and behave? Like, what's the point in being rich if you're just going to sit in your house and lock the door and be scared of everything? True. If you're a rich person and you go out and you go to a nightclub or you go to a restaurant or you try and talk to a girl on Instagram, that's enough. That's a case. That's it. It's done. Yeah. That's done. You can do it when you're broke. When you're broke, you can go up to a chick and say, hey, you're beautiful. She'll say, go away. When you're rich and you go up and say, excuse me, you're beautiful, she says, go away. And then she realizes who you were and how rich you were, and she'll change her mind. And she'll message you. And then if you ignore her, she'll say you sexually assaulted her. And now you got a police case. That's the world now. So you can't avoid these things. There's no light without dark. And I also think that it would be cowardice to say, I want to get as rich as possible and I want to make sure nothing bad happens to me. Listen, this is the universal law of how the world has always worked. If you're going to be a warlord, and you can talk about it financially, it's financial war, business is war. If you're going to be a warlord, you're going to go to war.
So what I will say is, though you did say, your children are young and they didn't really quite understand, I'm just going to go back to that point because though they may not understand, I haven't got kids, but I can imagine that if I did, I'd still be thinking, regardless, even if they're just born, I'd still be thinking, is everything going all right with them?
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't, correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't have communication with the outside world apart from talk to your lawyer, right? Or?
Yeah, I had a couple phone calls, but not too many. And my primary problem in jail was making sure everyone else was taken care of. I wasn't worried about
That's
myself.
what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, and this goes back to the point I was making earlier. See, a lot of people want to make money, and because they don't understand how the government operates, because they don't understand what the Matrix is trying to do, because they don't understand that they're guilty of everything all the time just because they're a man, because they don't understand that trying to become financially free is direct attack on the Matrix. They've convinced you that they want people to become financially free because it's good for the economy. That's garbage. No, they want you enslaved, all of you. You are attacking the Matrix in many forms, and you need to prepare for jail. And things like my children, I was prepared in advance for jail. I kept saying they're going to send me. If I had not prepared properly, everyone, including myself, would be destitute. My family would be destitute. My children would have starved. I would be destitute. I've been arrested a year and a half ago. That my bank accounts were seized on the day of my arrest. I haven't had not a dollar since that day. And I pulled up an SF-90. So how did I do that? How did I do that? Well, I did that by thinking ahead. And you have to ask the average person at home. And I'll ask you now, please, as a professional, answer the following question. If they take your passport and they take all the bank accounts in your name, and they take all of your cryptocurrency accounts in your name, and they seize your house because your house is a mortgage, and they're gonna find out what that is, and they're gonna get a new piece of paper from a judge, and they're gonna seize that. What do you have left? And where? And can you access it? Can you access it from jail? How do you move that money around? How do you pay for people? Where is it? People don't even think ahead. They save up some money and they put it in their NatWest and they're like, oh, I'm free. You're not free of anything. NatWest will take that off you. It takes a second, one phone call.
Yeah, the same way you said in the last podcast, if you really own a house, they could take that in a split second as well. Same for your money.
Of course, you don't own anything. Yeah. So then you have to sit and go, okay, how do I prepare for the ultimate level of Matrix attack with my money? Well, you can put things in other people's name. That's one way. But then if they work out who those people are, they're going to take that too. So then you have to sit and realize, well, how do the elites do it? The elites don't own anything. Trust funds own things, companies own things, foreign entities own things, shell companies own things. So then you have to go deeper down the rabbit hole and realize that you need to start setting up these extremely elaborate corporate structures just to protect your car, because otherwise you're going to lose it. So most people at home, and the reason I say these things, most people at home don't realize how fragile they are. And you're very fragile if you're broke. But you're also very fragile if you're rich and you're not prepared for the Matrix attack, because it's gonna come. It's going to come for you.
Yeah.
And if you're not prepared for it, they're gonna take everything you own and you're gonna be destitute. Like I said, a year and 4 months, I haven't had access officially to $1. How am I supposed to live for a year and 4 months with no money? No food, no gas, no paying for my children, nothing.
Well, you tell me, how are you doing it? Because that is a very interesting question. And the thing that intrigues me as well there is the crypto, because everyone seems to believe
they took everything off all the exchanges.
Yeah, and everyone seems to believe that crypto is decentralized. Government can't touch it. No one can touch it apart from you.
Yeah, so no. If you have a Binance account or any of these accounts, they'll find them and they'll take it all. So
let's just.
You have to prepare yourself for these things, and that's one thing I'm not going to say because I'm still currently on bail.
Yeah, of course.
You have to prepare yourself for these things, and it takes diligent work. There's so much work for you to do as a man. I don't know how people even. I barely sleep, and I never not work, and I never lay in. I'm never lazy, and I don't understand how people don't work all of the time. And when I say that, people say, "But work on what? I don't know what to work on." Bro, you need 10 passports, you need 25 bank accounts, you need shell companies, you need a trust fund, you need to make some money. You then need to move that money away. You need multiple places to live. You need a place for your children to live. They need a trust fund. You have stuff to do, and the people are just sitting around doing nothing. It's mind-boggling to me. And I guess if you sit around and do nothing, maybe you won't be successful. But if you're lucky enough to pull something off and make a little bit of money and you get too large, but you haven't done the groundwork, then you get wrecked the other way. They want people inside of their slave containers. They want everyone in the middle. All of the laws are made to control the people in the middle. So they want as many people as possible in the middle. Like we just discussed the vaccine. They can't enforce it against the homeless. They can't enforce it against the billionaires.
They stopped enforcing it altogether.
Well, they have now. But let me give you another example. Taxes. They can't enforce taxes against a homeless man, and they can't enforce taxes against a billionaire. They can only enforce taxes against the people in the middle. Because when you make a law, you have to make the law so that it applies to as many people as possible. So what they try and do is force everyone into this middle bracket, the middle class. And the goal is to get everyone in there so they can wreck them with the law. It's only the middle class that are afraid of the law. It's the middle class that's afraid of getting a speeding ticket. Because if he gets a speeding ticket and he doesn't pay the speeding ticket, then it goes to a bailiff, and the bailiff turns up to his house, and he can't run away because the house is his and it's in a mortgage, and if he doesn't pay it, they're gonna take the house off him and seize his car, and he has to pay that speeding ticket. If you give some homeless bum who just stole a car a speeding ticket, he doesn't care. And if you give a billionaire a speeding ticket, it never even arrives at his house.
Yeah.
It ends up going to some foreign shell company in the Cook Islands that owns the Ferrari he's borrowing. So only in the middle you get screwed by the law, so they try and keep everyone in the middle. That's what they do. So they'll pretend they want to help homelessness and pretend they want to help people at the bottom to elevate them up to this middle class where they can wreck them. And they also drag everyone from the top down as much as possible because they want them in the middle so they can wreck you. And all of the laws are made with this in mind. So if you're going to be truly rich, like I am, and also what I did, my capital crime was preaching freedom and inspiring freedom. The reason they dislike me so heavily is because I inspire freedom amongst the populace.
Yeah.
Young boys look at me and go, I don't want to do the things the Matrix tells me to do. I want to be like Andrew Tate.